this webinar, there's this moment of are we live, are we not live? When we finish it, the same thing. So I'm also checking at YouTube at the moment to see if this kicked off. Let's see. Yes, we are live. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time and joining another webinar from AI Academy. So today we're going to be having a great conversation with Matteo, who will introduce himself soon. And we will talk about the community that we've built of AI coaches, and we really love bringing their stories to you. The reason to that is because when we think about how we work, we always want to see data, right? We want to be able to understand how we did as companies, how did it go, and we look at data. And the personal stories that we've built at AI Academy is the data that we want to share with you because we have some great backgrounds, great stories of how people got here. So today I will have Matteo with me to talk about this. Matteo, I will pass it on to you to introduce yourself.
Hi, Helin. Thanks very much. Yeah, my name is Matteo. I'm originally from Italy, but I've been living in Denmark since 2016. I also had a short stint in Germany for a couple of years, so I have been had some experiences in Europe. My background is finance engineering, so it's a bit kind of unconventional background also because I ended up working in pharma for 15 years where I covered different roles from marketing to commercial excellence. And I think I will share my journey to AI Academy later on. We have plenty to talk about.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I will also briefly introduce myself since I sometimes forget about it because we spoke with a couple of the AI coaches today. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Helene. I lead partnerships at AI Academy and I also host our podcast called I'm Not a Robot. We will be able to also share a lot more backgrounds and stories of our AI coaches in the podcast as well. So, you will see a lot of different faces also around there. So to start with today, Matteo, I want to ask you a bit about how were you introduced to AI? What was your start like?
Yeah, I remember when I was still working for my previous company, and I heard this ChatGPT tech coming out, and I've always been curious by myself. So I tried to explore a little bit ChatGPT as soon as it came out. I think one of the first GPT Plus subscriber, and I was immediately fascinated by that. By well, I think I saw immediately the potential, but I was still working quite hard. I was commuting back and forth from Germany to Denmark, so I had a little time to to practice and dig more into the topic. The moment where I realized that I should dig more was when I went to paternity leave, and suddenly I had quite a lot of time at hand, and that allowed me to dig more.
Amazing. And when you started digging more, were you thinking more about how it can apply to your life in general, or was it more about your work?
Both. I always thought that AI will change fundamentally how we work, but also how we live our life. Um, so I found myself searching for advice on how to cook a good steak, to how to draft a contract for a supplier, for a vendor, this kind of stuff. So it's always been mixed. And of course, at the beginning, the use cases were quite basics, but the more I explored, and once I also got to know you guys, the use cases expanded quite a bit.
Amazing. In the meantime, I see that Marcos is able to join us after all. Let me just see very quick. Marcos, can you hear us? If you can hear us, feel free
Yeah,
to.
I can hear you, but I'm on vacation in Tuscany
Good choice.
with really bad internet, I was about to say.
Okay, do you think you'll be able to join?
Well, I'll try. I'm also trying to improve the internet on the meantime.
Okay. In the meantime, while you try to improve, I will go back to Matteo. And I want to ask you a bit about the projects that you've built so far and how was the process like for you?
Yeah, I'll take I think I'll take the example of the AI, the Gen AI bootcamp when I took it. Because as I said, I was on paternity leave, and I also took the choice to leave my previous company. So I was in a situation where I was looking for a job, right? And I've always been underwhelmed by the quality of LinkedIn recommendation, and also by the amount of jobs that are posted every day. So I thought there must be a easier way to handle this process, because I found myself many times just reading a job description only to find out after some rows, some lines, that it was not for me because, for example, they required Danish or they had 20 years of experience, and so forth. So what I did was build a process which was scraping every morning the jobs posted on LinkedIn in the last 24 hours, fed it my CV, and then asking ChatGPT, in this case, to cross my CV, my expertise with the job description, give a score based on different dimensions, and only those with a score higher than X were then going to the next step, basically filling a template and then sending every morning in the email in my inbox the most relevant jobs. So I kind of took out all the busy work that was also boring of finding a job to apply to. I didn't go further because I didn't have the time, but it was really helpful to get just a short list in the morning of jobs that, okay, this is interesting, I should apply to. Saved a lot of, I would say, hours every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's almost like you're creating a personalized HR system for yourself so that you can do more targeted applying there. But did you have this idea before joining the bootcamp, or is this something that you've developed along the way?
I think the boot camp helped me shape it
Mm-hmm.
because I think I wanted to do something in that area. I
Mm-hmm.
was sitting with the feeling, yeah, you must be able to optimize it. And Gianluca, I remember the first session, asked us to think about a process that we could optimize. And I had 3 or 4 items in the air, but this was the most obvious. So the bootcamp helped narrow it down and take a direction, definitely. Yeah.
And how did you think that affected your future plans when it comes to your career, how you personally brand yourself, how you define yourself? Did it have an effect on that as well?
So in the end, to some extent it didn't, because I decided to start my own consulting service.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now a freelance consultant. But the journey of the bootcamp and everything around it, the community of AI Academy, allow me to. I don't call me an expert in AI. I don't think anybody can claim to be an expert on AI at this point because things change so fast. But it makes me more comfortable talking about AI and also to some extent teaching about AI. So at the moment, for example, I'm training small, medium-sized pharma company in the use of large language models. I start with a simple 2 hours training, and I'm always amazed by how much you can achieve in just 2 hours. And then if I think back, the bootcamp was 6 weeks. So it's also to put things into perspective, right? I don't know if I answered the question. I was a long answer, but
No, no, absolutely. I think that is a good answer. And how would you say the experience that you had translate right now when you work with clients?
the experience with the academy or in general
Both.
in my both. Well, as I said, I worked 15 years in the life science industry. So it's a pretty peculiar industry because who is using the product? The patient is not who is paying, and is also not who is choosing the product. So it has unique dynamics. And during the years, I have met a lot of very cool people, both in my company and as suppliers. So my my journey had me in a sense that the first thing you do when you start freelance consulting is to reach out to your network. So 15 years of experience counted. Most of my first clients were coming from my network, are coming from my network. And then, of course, the stamp of the AI coach from AI Academy helped, to be honest, because it proved to some extent that I know what I'm talking about. So it was quite helpful, both my personal journey, my personal career, but also the journey with the AI Academy. And I also had occasions in which people proactively reach out to me and ask me, um, can you recommend some courses? What should I do to upskill myself with AI? And now I'm deviating a little bit, but I think it's important to say I didn't take only the AI Academy course when I was on leave. I took other courses, but there were a lot of hit and miss. I don't make names because I don't think it's fair, but a lot of courses are really theory, pure theory. And after a couple of modules, I was like, I'm done. The good thing about the bootcamp is that it's hands-on practice. So I really liked it at the beginning.
I definitely agree. Also, for me, being in this industry for also before ChatGPT, I remember how in the first years, obviously, it's been very interesting to talk about the theory of it because, I mean, we need to make a definition around AI so that we can decide how we want to use it, how do we want to learn it. But now I feel like we're at that extended period where, for some companies, for some people, it's still at that level, and it is very important to have a solid base, but we definitely believe at AI Academy that you learn by doing. There's no
Yeah.
other way of teaching people how they can actually create value with AI, so we need to see them building different kind of projects.
Yeah,
um,
there is this rule I remember from my previous job. They were saying that 70% you learn by doing,
yes.
20% you learn with peers by coaching, mentoring,
Mm,
and it's only 10% that you learn by actually doing um, courses, trainings.
absolutely.
And I think AI Academy blends everything together quite nicely.
That actually, I would love to ask you how you would describe the coaches, because from our side we wanted to create a great support system. We knew that 20% of it comes from peer learning, from speaking with someone who has already been through this process, who already faced some challenges. So can you also a bit elaborate on how AI Academy coaching works for people who are joining today?
Yeah, I can say on the receiving side, it was comforting to know that there were people having your back if you were hitting some roadblocks.
Hmm.
And I have also been a coach in my previous job, uh, and it's not necessarily about solving the problems, but it's asking the right questions most of the time. Um, so I didn't expect coaches, and I don't expect coaches to solve issues, but rather put the students on the right path to solve what they're struggling with. So I think it was good. It was nice to have a net, as kind of a safety net to go back to um, if you didn't know what to do. And I think it was also nice to have different offering. I remember, I mean, I love Alessandro De Salve. He's one of the first coaches I chatted with, and also the AI Data Bootcamp. Francisco, there are so many different profiles that a person can cherry pick the area where needs more support of. And
Absolutely.
now bit on the giving side, it's basically the same, but they are on the opposite. I think it's as I said, you can't know everything about AI, but you can ask the right question and try to direct people where
Absolutely.
they should go.
That was a big learning for me in the past when I had a mentoring experience, because it was really nice. It was guided for both mentors and mentees. And they were also talking about how if you're a mentor, if you're coaching someone, you're not supposed to solve their problem. At the end of the day, you
Yeah,
always need to remember that you can't help anyone who doesn't want help. So you need to also see how much the person is open and what kind of help are they seeking. And you should be, as you said, just directing the conversation, directing the questions accordingly so that you help them find their own way. So I'm really happy that you mentioned this because that is the kind of approach that we promote from our AI coaches as well. And where do you think people struggle the most when they start building a project? From your experience with
I've
students?
they are very ambitious, too ambitious. So they want to build a monster, or they want to run before they're able to walk. So my
Mm,
advice that also I received and also that I gave multiple times is, as a first step, keep it extremely simple. Like, take one step and automate that, and even that one step should be really basic. Uh, and there are multiple reasons for that, because if it works, then you can scale. So you can probably apply to a bigger framework, and also gives you confidence. So you realize, oh, I can do this. It's cool. It's not that difficult. Um, so you can progress and build bigger things. If you start too big, you try to build an automation with Make or Zapier or N8N, and then API and everything, and you get frustrated, it doesn't work, and
mhm.
you then stop and you react negatively and you think, this doesn't work, it's not for me, and so forth. So the biggest simple advice is keep it small, keep it simple.
Actually, knowing that that is the best way to do it, I still have a question that is not that I'm debating internally because I'm going through the process of building a project right now. I had a project that I wanted to work on, and in the beginning, what I wanted to build is definitely an app. It's like a final product. You know, you could sell it to
Yeah.
investors probably. It started off quite ambitious, but I do kind of find it similar to almost a kid saying, I'm going to be an astronaut one day, which is the willingness to do, you know, even if you don't have the plan, you don't have things sorted out. I think I still find a lot of value in trying to imagine where that can take you, because at the end of the day, we are building the most simple thing, and that's definitely the way to go when you're building your first AI project. But it is also very important to acknowledge that you should see the potential that's out there. You should see where that can lead. If you're able to do that one thing, imagine what else you'd be able to do 3 projects from now, 4 projects from now. So I think there's also a lot of value in that, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to have the vision of where you want to be, and be bold. Um, but I realized that you hit you have a reality check pretty soon
Hmm.
if you are very ambitious. So I see what you mean. I'm still convinced that maybe because I'm a very hands-on, pragmatic person.
Hmm.
Um, I like thinking strategically, but where I do best, I think the operational side day to day. So yeah, it's, as you say, it's like a yin and yang. It's two sides of the same coin.
Absolutely. And that's also one other reason why we have many AI coaches that are available. And people who join the bootcamp who are building projects can actually choose which coach to work with, because we all learn in different ways. We do think about things differently, as we just saw on this, for example. So it's also really nice to be able to get that outside view from multiple people who've been through that process, because the process is the same, but the outcome is very different. The AI coaches who, in a way, graduated from this bootcamp, the career path that they followed are quite different. So yeah, I think that's a nice thing to have as well. Um, from the time when you were doing this bootcamp, do you remember any project that inspired you or that gave you a wow effect?
Um, I remember one around mental health, um, solving for mental health problems, or like building a diary and having a kind of a sparring partner. That was, I think, the most inspiring. And it was also, it resonates quite well with what I've seen recently. There's been around in LinkedIn that the first use case right now is companion therapy. instead of drafting email or whatever. So the people are using ChatGPT or these kind of tools as a companion to give emotional support. So I think it resonates quite well in this case. And then there were also other. There was an ADHD. So around this space of probably because I come from pharma, so it was I could relate to those quite a lot.
It is true, actually. When you think about the AI use cases and what you can do with AI in pharma, those are not the first things that come to your mind, but actually these are very relevant, and it is
Yeah.
changing industries in I mean,
Yeah,
it's
of
actually
course. I mean, you open up a big ethical and regulation Pandora's box. Um, but that's maybe for another webinar. It's a more niche topic.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
actually we have a couple of episodes of the podcast I'm Not a Robot where we talk about the regulation around it, where we talk about mental health and how AI is affecting it, because these are things that we also constantly think about. In the meantime, I also see Marcos trying to join. I'm just going to say, Marcos, if you hear us, feel free to join whenever. If not, well, A for effort, right?
Well, hello everyone again. I don't know if you can hear me clearly or not.
Yes,
Yeah.
we made it.
Well,
Welcome.
that's great. It took a lot of trial and errors and efforts, but it seems I managed. The internet might be a bit slow, but hopefully I'm able to communicate.
It's actually working really well. I'm happy that you did not give up on trying. That is also the approach that we have at AI Academy, right? If you fail, you still continue. So I'll cut it short and I'll quickly ask you to introduce yourself, Marcos.
Well, hello everyone again. I'm Marcos Daniel Martinez. I am originally from Argentina, currently living in Spain, very close to Valencia. And these days I'm in Tuscany, Italy for vacations. My brother is getting married in 2 days. I'm here with my family. I'm at an Airbnb, so unfortunately the internet quality was not that good. I dedicated all my life to work life to business software. So when I was really young, I was working with ERPs or enterprise software, CRMs, e-commerce, point of sales, these type of things. And I started with conversational AI or chatbots around maybe 8, 9 years ago, and I've been working with chatbots since then. When I started, I was motivated and enthusiastic, or even dreaming about things like ChatGPT and generative AI. So the let's say the path to that was quite slow, but when we managed to arrive there, I was very happy, and I was I was convinced that one day that kind of quality of communication would happen, but I thought it was going to happen earlier. And then since then, I'm also adding to what I do normally. I add generative AI. Try to mix that with chatbots and also with ERPs, CRM, and this type of software.
Amazing. And can you also tell us about the project that you've built?
So you mean, because I, of course, like all of you, we have done many projects. What in particular should I talk about?
See, that is the level that I want to arrive. Which AI project that I've built are you talking about? So amazing. I'm curious to know about one of the projects that you've built in the bootcamp, because I want to also communicate to the people who are watching what is possible when you go through this process. So if you can tell us about
Yeah.
one of
So
those, that would be great.
so the first one I tried at the bootcamp was trying to improve the marketing messages from the company Hansa War, which is an ERP software house from Sweden, but with branches and customers all around the world. So we used we tried to improve the messaging in different languages, and basically that was the focus, to automate both the generation of those messages for different features that we were trying to promote. So like this very complete ERP has probably 100 different features to advertise or to promote for the users or new customers or partners, and then in different languages. So of course, it's quite challenging, takes a lot of time. Uh, you don't have clarity that that particular message would be like potentially the best one that's out there possible. So we use generative AI for generating the messages in English, and then through not only translate them but basically localize those messages on different languages. And I built basically an automation for all that. And then when I shared the results to the company, of course they were really impressed, and since then we were adding more and more generative AI to different tasks that my colleagues there are doing.
So you actually started the Gen AI usage in your company, right?
Yeah, I believe I did.
Amazing. Amazing. And when you started learning more about automations, about different kind of tools that are out there, did you have this project in mind? Because by the way, I also want to explain a bit more. I'm asking this question to both of you because, in my opinion, the ideation is one of the parts where people struggle with the most, and that's when they book the coaching calls the most. So I'm wondering if you had any challenges yourself when you went through that. Marcos?
Mateo, you want to go first?
I can go first. I mean, we spoke briefly about that. I think I came into the bootcamp with quite a lot of ideas, so I had the problem of actually the opposite problem. So pick um, uh, the right one. But I do understand, having trained a few people, sometimes people struggle to see what they can do. So they just need some couple of practical examples, and then they get inspired. That's from my experience.
Mine was probably what many of our students are suffering. So I started without really knowing how to where to apply it, and I was really hoping to like in one of those sessions to have more clarity, but I hadn't that clarity. But there was some point in the camp that I had to start. So then somehow my brain under pressure had to take a decision, and I decided for that one. And well, I'm happy about that decision, but I know sometimes it might be challenging or difficult if you don't really know from start what are you going to automate.
Marcos, it was like something that a coach asked you, or you just sat down on your desk and said, "Okay, I need to now figure out what I want to do." How
Yeah,
did
I
the
think it
process
was.
work?
I think it was about to. We were about to start working on those on the project and try to write down some ideas. So under that pressure, I had to take the decision to okay, what I'm gonna do, and then I decided to do that. But it was not because one of the coaches guided me. It was basically I don't know. I got some ideas from some explanations and examples on what we can automate, and then I had to felt the pressure. I had to take a decision. Of course, I had that in mind probably, and then I decided for that one.
Great. And a question that I've already asked Matteo that I also want to ask you, Marcos. Um, in your calls with students so far, when you were coaching, what were the kind of questions that you received from the students? Where do you think people struggle the most, if not, if they have figured out the ideation part?
Well, I think in general, from my experience, was that the students had ideas what they want to build or where what kind of results they would expect, but sometimes they were unsure about if all of those ideas could be done at the same time, and some of those were quite challenging. So they needed some clarity what they should focus first, or maybe only, instead of trying to build everything at the same time. And second, as we all are, they were unsure about the tools they should use, or they didn't know sometimes that those tools existed, because there are thousands of tools there or hundreds. So of course nobody knows all the tools or which ones are the best for particular tasks. So I think that from my understanding, they needed more some clarity on what type of tools to use. and what makes sense to automate, and basically to give more realistic scope to the project, because sometimes you want to do like everything at the same time, and then unfortunately you cannot do that, then you do nothing, or you get stuck. So I think that trying to have more easier to reach goals, and that make a difference, was something that some of them also resolved during those sessions.
I think you're both, with your answers, touching upon a same the same thing, which is the process. I think what really creates a lot of value, and what helps you structure your thinking, understanding what to automate, comes from the teaching of how do you create a process. And that is something that we include in the training as well. Because at least for me, going through this, I had an initial idea more or less, but not knowing what is doable, not knowing what is feasible, also makes you stop for a second and reconsider your thoughts. We want to shoot for the stars, but at the same time, I do want to get something out of the time that I put into this. And I think a lot of students find a lot of value in understanding where they should apply this and where they shouldn't. So I think AI coaches in that case is a big help. So thank you both of you for also doing that. So I want to do a bit of a recap about the bootcamp and how our training process works. But while I do that, I also want to ask people to write down if they have any questions in the chat, so that at the end of this, we would be able to answer them. If you have any questions for Matteo, for Marcos, for me, or for AI Academy in general, feel free to share it with us. And meanwhile, I want to give you a bit more details about how this process that both Marcos and Matteo went through looks like. So I'm now sharing my screen, and this should be seen. Okay, perfect. So what you will learn if you are a part of this bootcamp is that, first of all, you identify how to create value with generative AI. And we're not saying this just to talk about this. This is not in theory for us. We actually see people creating different workflows, automations, and different projects that create value, whether in their working life or in their private life. So that's also another thing that I want to specify here. We don't have to be working in the energy industry, in tech industry, to be able to use AI. We have a lot of different people from different backgrounds who come and build passion projects, and they also feel empowered after doing this, because it helps them understand how many different things that you can do with AI. So you will be able to design an AI agent, and you will be able to also decide what is the extent of your AI agent. Is it a very simple one? Is it a complicated one that also takes decisions? So you will be able to also see this. You'll learn how to create processes, which is something that both Matteo and Marcos also mentioned. This will help you create prompts, and reliable prompts that works every time, so that in another day, if you want to extend your project, if you want to take another step, this will help you have a process that works every single time you try. And we also teach you how to validate the prompts, how to test the prompts, etc. And you will be able to also integrate your AI agent with a lot of different tools, such as Slack, Google Drive, CRMs, without writing any code. So how you will learn is also something that I want to mention here. The process that we have is consisting of 5 live sessions, which is helping you identify your project as a first step, which is probably the most important step, and then help you create a process breakdown. A process breakdown is where we also promote keeping the human element in within the loop. And how we do this is we help you understand, where do you want to apply AI and where do you not want to apply? Because it seems like an easy decision to make, but it actually isn't. Here, while you break things down, you understand what are the things that you like doing and what are the things that you're bored of, that you want to get rid of. And this also helps you design a project that you will use and enjoy it at the same time. You will be learning how to evaluate your prompts, how to build an AI agent, And here we have a partnership with make.com, which also gives you 3 months of free access so that you will be able to build and use your project freely. And afterwards, we have a demo day. Demo day is when students also show their projects to the community. And we usually have someone from our network who comes and gives feedback together with our founder, Gianluca Mauro. We really love this because this is the moment where we see everything coming together, where we see why people are motivated to use AI and what kind of different projects that they've built. And afterwards, you graduate, you have your certification, and you have a framework to work with and the ability to create AI projects from scratch. We do also feel very, very proud of the supporting system that we've built around this course, because you'll be able to book one-on-one coaching calls with people like Matteo and Marcos who work and come from different backgrounds. And they will be able to support you in the process, whether it's deciding what to build or what kind of tools to use for your own project. So looking at actually one of the coaches, Matteo, you already mentioned Alessandro De Salve. He's a part of a lot of our webinars and our projects because we're really proud of his story as well. And this is what the website looks like once you log in and you want to book a 30-minute call. You can see the background of the AI coach. You can see what are the projects that they worked on. And whichever resonates more with you, you can book a call and get help from them. So this also helps you get a different idea around the project as well. We have over 200 people trained so far. And our previous students had a lot of different backgrounds. We have freelancers, designers, developers, corporate managers, and they've built incredible projects, which are relevant to many different industries. I don't want to go into a lot of detail here because obviously there are so many projects to talk about. But if you're curious about them, we are now creating different episodes in the podcast I'm Not a Robot, where students also explain the projects that they've built and what motivated them to do it. We already talked about Alessandro, but I still want to stop here for a second because we need to say also happy birthday to Alessandro, who is turning almost 50 on 8th of June. So Alessandro, if you're here, happy birthday already. I know in Italy you're not supposed to say it earlier than your birthday, but well, here we are. If it counts, I'm located in Spain right now, so hopefully it's not bad luck. I just wanted to also show an example of what Alessandro has built. He comes from an HR background, and he started off by learning different no-code tools, and he was one of the ambitious students who had a lot of ideas. He actually ended up having a huge career shift, and he started doing consultancy on AI for HR industry and created great projects. If you join and have a one-on-one with him, you can also listen more about what he's built so far. Some other examples, there are so many, I don't want to go into too many detail, but we have people who build projects for their family members, for their friends, for their jobs. So you can also have a look at it more in detail, but this is to remind you that whatever background that you come from, you will be able to build something. And building that something will help you learn how to use AI, will help you interpret how AI works and whether the tool changes, the ecosystem that we're in right now for AI changes. You will be able to build something, and this is an evergreen skill. It's like speaking a language. You will never lose it. You will get rusty, but you will never completely lose it. So I also want to introduce you the AI Academy membership to have a continuous journey in AI learning. This is something that we've launched after a couple of years of doing AI training. We realized if people just go through one process, they're left with this, okay, what now feeling. So to avoid that, we decided to make everything that we have available for our members so that they can decide what kind of journey they want to build upon. This allows you to join as many bootcamp cohorts as you want. And what you can do is every cohort is a project. So this helps you build a lot of different projects over the year. And within the membership, we also have 4 more outstanding programs that are available. And one of them is very special for me, actually, Foundations of AI, because this is the one that I've done, and this is how I got introduced to AI Academy years ago when I was studying at the university still. And this also includes how the traditional AI frameworks work. And for some backgrounds, for some people, this can also be very interesting. Other than that, we also have a Build Ethical AI program, which could be of interest for people who are going to build products with this. Because if you build a product, an AI agent that will be available for thousands, millions of people, let's think big, no? If you will be doing that, then obviously you will care about it being ethical as well. In, for example, Matteo's example, if you work in pharma, there are many moments, there are many products that could be affecting a lot of people. So we also have that. And AI Career Compass is another one that will be included in the membership, which helps people decide what kind of a career shift that they can have, or what different new careers are out there thanks to AI. And then we also have generative AI for business innovation, which is a kickstart, a quick start for Gen AI for people. So these don't sell for individually. These are just included in the membership with the cohorts. So I just want to stress one more time, we're really proud of the support system, because you can have up to 10 one-on-one calls with AI coaches. You will have 1 year access to the AI Academy community, the instructors, the alumni, and 1 year access to AI Academy Knowledge Chatbot, which we've considered a team member at this point, because it knows a lot about our background and the courses. And we have a lot of different things here that is also involved that you can also check out on the website and see it. So for the people who have stayed so far, we have a gift, which is a free one-on-one consultation call from one of our AI coaches to help you build your journey. So within the cohorts, we mentioned that you can book calls, you can get support for your project. But this time, for people who've joined the webinar and stayed so far, we also want to offer a one-on-one consultation where one of the AI coaches will talk to you about what is the best way to structure your learning within the membership. So you can scan the QR code that is here. The offer is valid until Friday. So if you purchase the membership until Friday, you will be able to have this call with one of the coaches. And any future price increases also won't be affecting you if you are one of the members until Friday. If you want to train your team, if you are a part of a company, we also do a lot of different trainings for our corporate customers, which is the part where I'm leading. So you can reach out directly to helin@aiacademy.com, and I will be able to also consult you on how we help companies. So thank you so much for everyone who stayed so far. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think there are no questions so far. And yeah, I will be just leaving the QR code for another second in case you missed it. And I will be slowly also thanking Matteo and Marcos for joining. Even if we had some technical issues, we did not have one AI coach joining, but things happen, life moves on. So thank you so much for joining in any case.
Thanks, Helin.
It was great to have you here today.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.